Ambassador Velroth's tertiary manipulator trembled as he reviewed the data streaming across his neural interface. In his 3 centuries of diplomatic service to the Galactic Council, he had never witnessed such a catastrophic breakdown of negotiations. The humans, those peculiar mammals from the 3rd planet of an unremarkable yellow star, had just committed the unthinkable. They had walked away from the negotiating table. The conference chamber aboard the orbital station Harmony's Promise fell into stunned silence as the human delegation's footsteps echoed down the corridor. Ambassador Chen had delivered her final statement with that characteristic human terseness. "We're done talking. You'll have our response soon enough." Then she and her entire team had simply left, their faces carved from stone, their eyes burning with something the assembled delegates couldn't quite comprehend. "This is unprecedented," hissed the Zafrani representative, her crystalline form refracting the chamber's bioluminescent lights into frantic patterns. "In 12,000 years of Galactic Council history, no species has ever abandoned active negotiations during a crisis of this magnitude." The crisis in question was the contested zone, a resource-rich sector of space claimed by 6 different species, including humanity. For 18 months, the Council had attempted to broker a peaceful resolution. The humans had participated in every session, presented their evidence, listened to countless arguments, and watched as the Council slowly, methodically tilted toward a solution that would give humanity precisely nothing, while rewarding the aggressive expansion of the Korthax Empire. Velroth understood the game. He'd played it for centuries. The Korthax had more votes, deeper pockets, and longer tentacles reaching into Council affairs. The humans were newcomers, barely 2 centuries in the galactic community. They should have accepted their loss gracefully, as younger species always did. They should have learned their place. Instead, they walked away. "Perhaps we should reconvene," Velroth suggested, his diplomatic instincts struggling to salvage the situation. "Give the humans time to reconsider their emotional response. They are a young species, after all, prone to impulsive—" The chamber's alert system interrupted him with a priority override. The holographic display erupted with data that made every delegate's primary sensory organs widen in shock. 17 human colony ships had just entered the contested zone. Not military vessels. Colony ships. Massive ARC-class transporters carrying tens of thousands of civilians, along with construction equipment, prefabricated habitats, and enough supplies to establish permanent settlements. Behind them came cargo haulers filled with mining equipment, agricultural processors, and industrial fabricators. "This is an act of war," roared the Korthax ambassador, his battle-scarred carapace darkening to threat display crimson. "The Council has not yet ruled. They have no legal right. Legal right?" Ambassador Chen's voice cut through the chamber's communication system. She hadn't left the station after all. "We exercised every legal avenue available. For 18 months, we presented evidence of our prior settlement claims. Our resource surveys, our colonial charter registrations, all filed properly, all dismissed on technicalities or simply ignored because you'd already decided how this would end." Velroth's manipulators worked frantically across his console, pulling up historical precedents, searching for the diplomatic framework to contain this disaster. He found nothing. No species had ever simply decided to act unilaterally while negotiations were ongoing. "You humans," he transmitted directly to Chen's channel, keeping his tone measured and conciliatory. "You must understand the consequences. The Korthax will respond militarily. You'll be provoking a war that could devastate your young civilization. Surely you see?" "We see perfectly, Ambassador." Chen's image appeared in the holographic field, and Velroth noticed something that chilled his triple-redundant circulatory system. She was smiling. "We see that the Council responds only to action, not justice. We see that you'll debate and deliberate while aggressors swallow territory, so long as those aggressors have enough votes to make it legal after the fact. We see that you've forgotten what teeth are for." The tactical display updated again. Human defense stations were materializing in the contested zone, not being built but uncloaking. They'd been there all along, hidden, waiting. Weapons platforms that made the Korthax fleet suddenly look inadequate. The humans hadn't been negotiating in good faith at all. They'd been buying time while they fortified their position. "You were stalling," Velroth said, something like admiration creeping into his disbelief. "Your negotiations were a diversion." "We were hoping you'd choose justice over politics," Chen corrected. We built these defenses because we're not naive. Every successful species in this galaxy learned the same lesson. The Council will protect you only if you're already strong enough that you don't need protection. You maintain peace through managed decline, where younger species are taught to accept less while older empires slowly strangle them with regulations and procedures. The Korthax ambassador's threat display intensified. Your fleet cannot stand against the might of the Empire. We will crush— You'll try, Chen interrupted. And you'll discover what humans learned millennia ago, back when we were still confined to one world, fighting each other in wars you can't imagine. We learned that sometimes when you've exhausted every peaceful option, when you've pleaded your case to deaf ears, when you've watched injustice get codified into law, sometimes the only moral choice is to flip the table and make them understand that you'd rather burn than kneel. More alerts cascaded across the displays. Human fleets were moving into position throughout the sector, not invading anyone's sovereign space but establishing a perimeter that made it clear the contested zone was no longer contested. It was human territory, and anyone who wanted it would have to take it by force. Velroth understood finally what the other delegates were too shocked to grasp. This wasn't humans being impulsive or emotional. This was calculated, precise. They'd known for months how the negotiations would end, and they'd prepared accordingly. They'd respected the Council's processes right up until those processes proved to be theater, and then they'd abandoned the charade with terrifying efficiency. The galaxy runs on rules, Velroth transmitted, a last attempt at reason. Without them, we descend into chaos. Surely you understand? We understand that rules without justice are just chains with paperwork, Chen replied. You can condemn us at the Council, Ambassador. You can pass resolutions and issue sanctions, but you'll do it while our children are being born on new worlds in the contested zone. You'll do it while our mining operations are extracting resources you spent 18 months arguing we had no right to touch. And if anyone tries to stop us, they'll learn what humans are really good at. She paused and her smile grew sharper. We're exceptional at two things, Ambassador. We're exceptional at talking peace, and we're exceptional at waging war. You had 18 months to let us demonstrate the first. Now you'll get to see the second if you push us. Your choice. The transmission ended. The chamber erupted into chaos, delegates shouting, threatening, demanding action. But Velroth sat silent, his manipulator still on the data streams. He was watching something the others had missed in their outrage. Every major human colony was mobilizing. Their merchant marine was being armed. Their civilian infrastructure was converting to military production, with a speed that suggested they'd designed it to do exactly that from the beginning. The humans hadn't just walked away from the negotiating table, they'd kicked it over on their way out, and the galaxy, which had spent millennia perfecting the art of civilized decline, was about to learn what happens when you back a species that still remembered how to fight.